Tanja Frieden is joining me from Vaud, Switzerland, where she is an energy and transformation coach, an Olympic gold medalist, and the founder of the Frieden's Academy, or the Peace Academy. As a Swiss national snowboarder, Tanja knows all about peak performance, the struggles, and what it feels like to be in flow, to have a sense of freedom. And Tanja is also a certified practitioner and instructor in logosynthesis. So thank you so much for joining me today, Tanja. I'm looking forward to a conversation around an important topic right now, peace and inner freedom from the perspective of logosynthesis.
Thanks a lot for having me. It's really a big honor to be able to have this conversation with you. Thanks for your work. It's so important, Kathy.
Thank you. Yeah. So to start, you're an Olympic gold medalist. I just think, wow, an aspiration for so many people. Can you give us a sense for that moment of becoming an Olympic gold medalist and why logosynthesis? So kind of two aspects there.
I could talk for hours about both of them. More so, it's really, I think if we connect those two subjects, how it is to become Olympic champion, as well as logosynthesis, it's for me, the reason why I wanted to win gold. And that's the way how I work with goals, setting goals is I always try to have a why. And for me to, I wanted really badly to become Olympic champion because I knew if I'm going to win, many people are going to listen to me. And I feel so grateful for the 30 years that, for the 15 years I've been in the World Cup before I won already. I had so many, I learned so many tools to overcome obstacles, to overcome resistance and disbeliefs and all these things that took me away from winning. But more so was the beauty that I realized, wow, my life is getting easier and more happy with the work I'm doing, that it's within me and not just the motion work, but the work from my mental, let's say mental, even though mental is too small for my space in general. And then the moment to win it actually, because the Olympic champion, beside the 32 podiums that I had before, but not many people knew about that because snowboarding is kind of not a sport that stands out like soccer or skiing or things like that. So then getting this trampoline effect to open, getting gates, doors open to the world was for me huge. And also knowing I was working 4 years hard for this very day. And if things fall together in one moment and flow is there, luck is there, your personal, everything you put into that goal is falling into place. This is magic, and it's I also know that magic is here for everybody, and if possibilities are showing up, you have to take them. And that's all these things came together on that day. I was working for a year for that specific day, and especially if things fall in place like that. But also knowing the reason why I wanted to win gold, because I had many wins before, but they were more so empty because I didn't fulfill them with the reason why I wanted to win. Because often, and so many people can relate to that, if you have reached somewhere where you're at, then often think like, okay, what's next? What next? And then winning can be quite empty. Peak performance people know that, and maybe all people that know how it is to get goals, then they often is like, okay, what's next? And then you are there already. But this time I realized, okay, I have to connect it to a strong emotion, to something that really matters to me. Because honestly, just to become first, what does it mean? It's kind of senseless in one way. And I had to feel these emotions, this reason why, to this goal, why I wanted to win. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. Because for me, just to get down a hill on a snowboard would be quite an accomplishment, let alone to be the first one down the hill. But yes, it does.
And in no matter what does have that to do with the logosynthesis? Oops, sorry. Um, when people ask me, who are you or what are you? That's in general is big topics because becoming Olympic champion, the the problem is big, or the how do you say trap is big to get caught in I am the Olympic champion, but this is not true. That's what I accomplished, and many people that have a job and they see themselves as the job, as the result of what they've done, but it's never the result. They still are the person, the Pete, the Tanya, the Kathy, the whatever. But the Olympic champion can be an identity which is can be like a trap. And for me, if people ask me, it's often like I'm not Olympic champion. I'm just a person that knows very good how to deal with energies. And if I say that, then logosynthesis is quite close. And logosynthesis, I have to say, like I used it before I became Olympic champion, because logosynthesis is existing since 2005. And that's the moment I'm with logosynthesis since the very first year.
Wow. Lucky
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. And it was a wild ride for me too, because I can say I know logosynthesis in all kinds of forms because it developed too. And some people, they still have resistance of using methods like energetic or what, which help them to overcome, because like, oh, what it is. And luckily it gets less. And I always say like, hey, it helped me to achieve the gold medal. And it was a big part of it. So whoever is listening to that podcast, that just go and dive in. If it can bring you to the gold medal, so where in life can it bring you elsewise? So use it. And because for me, that's exactly how I started. And you stop me if I should do a point, but
Yeah, because
that's
I thought you were introduced to it after you won, because you
no,
won in 2006, right?
exactly. And Logosynthesis started twice 2005. And
Yeah.
that's where I did my first basic course. Plus, also, my coach at that time, he told me, like, we were working, and he's like, hey, the resistance or your disbeliefs that you're going to win, we can do something about it. Here is a sentence. And so I used it. And luckily, I was very close since my early ages. I was very close to my intentions and my feelings as being sport person, super connected to my body anyway. And thanks to my mom, connected to magic, let's say. She was a Norwegian, so the spiritual side, if you want to say so, or the open side too, there is more. There is more. I was always open to that. And I was open because wanting to achieve big goals, you have to use everything that's possible. And more than we just can think in the front brain, because you need every energy that's out there. And so I was always looking for things that bring me further. And with logosynthesis, when I first learned it, and my coach used it with me, it was new by then, and it's just like, whoa, something is going on. Great, let's use it. I didn't need it to understand, because if as a sports person, I didn't have time to think back and to think if that's good or bad. It's just it does something to me. Go. That's all I wanted. And I always was looking to, I had also something that most of the people don't know. I had struggles with epileptic when I was young. Plus also normal problems as parents that are kind of separating and things like that. So, and beliefs. And I was like, I need something. Just understanding my problem is bullshit. I need to overcome it. And give me the tools to overcome it. I need the fast lane. And this logosynthesis was fast lane. And so that's why it was, for me, it was completely a no-brainer not using it. So I used it even though I had no clue what I was doing. I just used it and I felt like, hey, there's something, things are shifting. And that's what I need to know, point. And so that's the story behind logosynthesis. And another nice story is like my coach back then, because he's like, hey, I have an intense, how he was working with me was quite intense. Like, this costs a lot. And then he said, like, if you win, you pay me if you don't win. And it was more thought as a joke. And I was like, deal. So I paid him.
Wow. Wow. So what kind of belief would you have worked on as far as the belief that you couldn't win or and I'm sure there's probably a lot of different beliefs that can sabotage you when you're going down the hill at however
Yeah.
many miles an hour.
Mm. Yeah, there's so many things there. First of all, yeah, I for sure was, even though back then before the Olympics, I was starting at a young age and not knowing whether could succeed all these big steps I need to do and the wins. And then for sure there came a point where I like, yeah, I know I can win. But still, I was the type of person that even after I won the Olympics, I had to work on these beliefs. I was even thinking, um, okay, I won, but I still hope people don't see that I'm not able to, yeah, that I cannot do it. This has a name in German,
Imposter syndrome, we call it, I
imposter.
think, eh?
Oh, you call it that fast as well. The imposter syndrome, I was very known to that. And the good thing is you can deal with it with logosynthesis as well. Most of the people say, yeah, you just have to learn new strategies. This is bullshit. Why keeping shit if you can put it away? I don't see that point. So this is I struggled with like this. Even after Olympics, I realized like, holy shit, I'm Olympic champion and I'm still hoping that people wouldn't realize it. So there we go. I was working on that. But before, I was for sure working on, oh, this person is stronger than me. This is, what if I just had luck this time? And all these things, as well as the really deep things too. In my sports career, I was, I was there live on stage when people had accidents and even died. And things like that you have to overcome because the next week there is a competition again. And we went with 60K per hour, six people together over the same jumps. And you have to manage your fears, but also those fears I had to manage. And often fear is actually just a fantasy. I always say it's a fantasy from the future, or it's um, something I went through in the past, but it's never present. It's never present. And fantasies, as well as past things, are the best thing to deal with logosynthesis. So it's just an aspect of something that it's not in my present. And I need a clean present to hauling ass down the hill and winning medals. And so these fantasies, I just needed to check on those and clean it out of my way. Or even everybody around us has a backpack full of picture bad things, and it's so easy to work with those. And it just, there's no reason not to do it.
Yeah, and so a lot of times people say to me, well, what's the scientific evidence for it? And I just love now that there's research being done on mental imagery. And mental imagery really is the memories, the beliefs, and the fantasies. And that's exactly what we work with in logosynthesis. And then from a stress response, and again, I'm scared of heights, but one of the things when I'm skiing is I know that if I'm skiing down the hill and all of a sudden something gets triggered, and you get into a stress response, your body freezes, and that's not exactly beneficial. It's not your body in flow when you're trying to achieve peak performance. So
Mm.
these mental images or the fantasies or that trigger the fears, it's not just the emotion fear, it's that physical response. And we say it can be a good survival instinct because you have to run, but also it can be dangerous if your body freezes, can't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
situations like that I had plenty because you're exactly what you're saying, your flexibility. I even have now is working with the guy that's in currently right now in the World Cup, and I usually don't work a lot with sports people. I'm not so interested because I don't see the sense in winning. It's hard to, I'm allowed to say that, but winning alone, unless you have a big mission behind it, it's quite empty for me. And I really want to, well, I work with people like that, but he had twice an accidents, one in a row in the World Cup, and broke both time his Achilles, his cross ligaments and other things. And he was he thought he was fine, but when I went through okay, what you're gonna do at the start, what you're gonna do there, his legs started to shake immediately.
Mhm.
And this was, if you were thinking, just here, the front brain is the smallest part of our whole system. And if that thinks, yeah, it's all good, but there is still these resistance, all these beliefs or even images are sitting in your cells. And the good thing is we don't need to know where it sits. It
Mhm.
just, we can see it, okay, there is something that doesn't feel good. I can go there and clean it out. And I'm also happy they do research, but in one way I learned to not be interested in that at all. I just need to know, does it work? Yes or no? And you feel the difference in the very first situation you deal with or you use logosynthesis. And to me, I always was, people don't working with it. It's quite unprofessional. Even because you can't do something wrong. And what I really love with logosynthesis is that um, everybody can use it. There is no such a thing as wrong. You just maybe can hit it better or worse, but there is everybody can use it. My little son, he's 9 years old. If he has fear of a ghost or something, he's like, "Oh, mom, I always call it sober. Let's play magic." He can say the three sentences. He doesn't really understand it, but he learned that he has less fear. And so if a 9-year-old can use it, why shouldn't we?
Yeah, because we have limiting beliefs about how it should be.
By the way, Kathy, fear of height, I also have that. That's an easy game too.
You have fear of height and you do
I had,
snowboard. Wow.
yeah, I still don't like it, but I can manage it now.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm still working. We always say that we work in layers, and I'm still working on my layers to get to the
And,
underlying
and
deepest
not, not,
level.
and not
So I
everything
have
is,
worked on certain layers, but yeah, there's still
uh,
something there.
we can have a session together once. But
I think my
just,
husband would like it if I enjoyed skiing. So yes. So you do a lot of work with peace and inner freedom. And so to some of us that can sound a little esoteric and yet I think once you kind of connect with that, it's really transformational, isn't it? Can you tell us a little bit about maybe the type of people that you work with and what transforms for them, if that's the right word?
yes,
Maybe an
yeah,
example even.
piece of paper, maybe I have to draw something. But in general, I work with people that have this usually high performance people that like to they know they work. It's not exactly high performance, it's more the people that are they love to work, they love to work a lot, and they have these dreams, and but they think like, yeah, to feel this pressure and feel this stress is kind of normal because I have high goals. And I can say then, yes, I was like this for a long time, but then I learned that I can be successful, but still feel fulfilled. And I always say, being successful is easy, but being fulfilled is the hard part. And so to connect, what is it if we fulfilled, we feel kind of a feeling of peace within us, and we feel okay with who we are. Most of the time we're very human, so I'm struggling sometimes too, but also feeling this peace in ourselves of, okay, I'm at the right place, I'm doing more or less the right thing, and that's okay, and I still can be a high performance person but with less pressure and realizing more. And this is what I'm working with, is the zone of genius, because I believe that if each person is working or doing what they're meant to be with their zone of genius, then we have less problems in the world. The world is automatically more peaceful. Why? Because let's take an example. I I I always talk about the zone of genius, which is everything I do out of natural. It's nothing I learned. It's something that is so easy, and I can go and do it for hours without missing energy. It's something that it's so easy that most of the time I'm not thinking it's worthy, because it's just out of myself, and because there's still the belief, did you learn it? No. And this is the zone of genius when it comes to me, to give an example. And the other part is the expert zone. I'm expert in snowboarding, quite big expert, but it's not the zone of genius. That's something I learned. I did many hours on it. I'm very good in it. What I would think I'm even better on is the whole energy work. Is using, and what is that? If you zoom in, what can I do for hours without getting tired and even feeling fuller after my work, is working with people and feeling if they are in their right energy or in another energy which doesn't belong to them. I realized that that was the work, and coming back to the picture of being Olympic champion is really, I was so good, and I did that most of the time to have these intentions. And then I have also, we have five, what's that word in English? I can see,
Oh, yes,
smell.
senses, the five senses.
Thanks, five senses. We have these five senses, but we have those five senses as well in the consumption. No, in the
Yeah, unconscious or hidden or
unconsciousness.
yeah, yeah.
In the unconsciousness, we have those five senses as well. And those five senses is often, and it's really important, if you said, like, it can sound esoterically, this too, but it's fact. We have five senses in the knowing, but the subconscious, no, what's the name again?
The hidden or subconscious.
Yeah, exactly. And we have that. And I was, thanks to my background with also epileptic and stuff, I had these impulses saying, Tanja, you can do this. Yes, all the doctors say, Tanja, stay at home. It's not possible. I had this super clear yes in my body, not here. My cells were like, they always start to tingle if something feels right. And they were tingling and dancing. I'm like, hey, it sounds like a yes in me. And this doesn't come from the rational. So I used those senses from very early age, and I was never afraid of it. And I thought all the people are using that. So coming back to the zone of genius is like, I have really good, strong connection for my intentions. And I use that in the coaching too, because sometimes I feel more than my clients. No, I would never address it because I think it's their way, but it helps. It's like the things are already parked at my parking lot, so the people can easily touch on it, if that makes sense. And so the zone of genius to work with those people through that transformations was helping me to achieve all these battles. And the expert zone, I learned. So what does that mean for the peace? If I do my work as a transformation coach now, I can go for hours. I'm not losing energy. I'm feeling fuller after those sessions. Now, if the people out there, if each one would do what they're meant to be, following more the zone of genius, and how do I come there if I get away all the beliefs why I cannot work with that or why this is not worthy, we wouldn't need to. I feel in peace. I feel at the right space. I don't even think to get the job away from this person or that person. I even do way more cooperations, even with other coaches, because I know I'm here for those people. And I feel that super strong. But this wasn't always the case. I think like, hey, it's more a get together. I don't even think of power, like how can I be better, or this is just go and be big. I'm big as well. And this equal, this is because I'm more working the zone of genius. Unless if I'm working in an expert zone, that other people can do that too. It's way more of oh, I need to be better, I need to be this, need to be more powerful. But if every person is working what they really meant to, the world
Yeah.
is getting more peaceful.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Was
as
that
you're
too
speaking again,
complicated or?
yeah, I kind of go back to the whole skiing thing for me is that there's, there's that expert, there's so much you can learn, but it's not where I want to spend all my energy trying to learn and be expert. I just enjoy it enough to go and ski on my own time. I enjoy being outdoors and I will go and do it. And I'll pick the steepness that I'm comfortable with, and that is good for me, and I can go and enjoy it, but I don't have to be an expert. And then the same with the genius, my genius, you know, I could have conversations like this all day, every day, and be very energized by it and feel very connected through it. And again, it doesn't feel like work. So I can relate to what you're saying in
Mhm.
that. And sometimes I think we get so stuck in, I should be able to do this or I should be able to do that. A- And there's again that element. Like for me, being athletic, it was always hard work and a struggle. But a couple of years ago, I did a half marathon and I used logosynthesis just to let go of that, that it feels a hard work and a struggle. And I really enjoyed it. It's not something I'm going to go and do every time, but it's something I know I can do if I want at a level that's comfortable and engaging for me. So it's kind of releasing that pressure valve a bit for me. Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Congrats. That's beautiful to hear.
Yeah, because I think I'm probably on the opposite end of the spectrum from where you are, but it's still, I think, important for people to recognize, I come to it from healthy living. It's not all about us all being Olympic athletes. It's about being physically active enough throughout our life that we can continue to enjoy
Uh,
activity,
there-
isn't it?
I I so feel you. That's why I'm not necessarily work with just sports people because I'm more so I think like these are special people anyway. They're all a bit nuts, including me, when it comes to that. Plus, also, like I said, just winning alone, it's not. That doesn't mean I know many athletes they're not really fulfilled, and I was there too. And the fulfillment, and there also motion is such an important thing, and but do it on a way. It still helps to have goals like you. You at the half marathon was for sure helping to you improve your health in general, and overcoming the obstacles, and being even more close to you probably. This is what it's about.
And it's something we did it together as a family, right? So if we all wanted to run the same event, then that was the one I was running. So yeah. So then the piece on the corporate side. So we talk a lot about athletics, but it's also corporately, you can see these same
Hmm.
drivers and behaviors. And can you speak to that a bit?
Yeah, it's copy paste in one way because it's like I said, it's often a question of power. I have to prove myself that I can do it and all these things. And often it is that people don't really feel their zone of genius. There's some people even are not conscious about what they really good are. Sometimes if they learn more about it and they have taken away the disturbance on that way, the beliefs that I cannot do this because it's not professional if I do it that way, just because they haven't learned it, maybe. It doesn't need that they shift completely to a new job, but just that the way they think about things and maybe they use more the intuition in it instead of just, oh, I have to follow this Excel sheet, more so the intuitive side of what they already did, and they feel more relaxed about what they do. They don't even need to change the job.
Yes, I
And
can relate.
there, there, that's a very important. The longing, is the matter because often people on in the corporate world they have this longing. They're thinking, "Wow, what if there is more? What if there is something else?" And there usually would be a yes behind it. But the fears, again, the fantasies, if we think back, what happens if I follow that path? oh, then I might change my world. I don't get enough money to take care about the family, having that standard that I already have. What if I'm no more the manager XI of this company? Who I am then? And all these questions are so terrifying that they won't really look at this fear. But in fact, if I or you working with logosynthesis on that fears, the whole soul can evolve around it, and then all of a sudden, this new me is completely natural. And usually none of these fears are really going to happen. And more so because the truth is a completely new one about themselves. I always say that we have this truth, our inner truth, that it's not usually exactly if that's the outer truth of who I am, how I am, who I am, how I am. And this is my inner truth. And often this inner truth is way more shaky and wiggly than what the outer truth about ourselves is. And I call it, that's the valley of truth.
Mhm.
And it's also the mother or the father of depression, by the way. As more these two truths are going out of each other, as heavier you feel inside, as more the stress you have, because then you have to try to cover your inner, oh, I don't feel good enough. I'm not sure about this. What if there is something else? And maybe the outside, you have a nice family, you have a good job, you're beautiful, blah, 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 blah. And I know what I'm talking about, that being Olympic champion, this truth was completely not what my inner truth was. And so I had a lot of work to do. But bringing this inner truth, that's the only truth we have. And if we work on these beliefs, with logosynthesis something, the valley is connecting more and more and more. And it's not the goal to be like this, but if those two sides are getting close to each other, the stress is less. And then in corporate worlds, there is not such a necessity of working against power of somebody else, because you're more with you. And maybe your longings are closer than you thought they were, or maybe you have the courage of changing where you are in the outer world. And so these beliefs, I'm good enough, imposter syndrome, or all these things are as well also, or often it comes back to the center of I have to work like a crazy to be loved, but nobody would ever talk about these things, to be on this job, to have the right to be here. But they're not spoken like that. They don't believe in it. So and these are energy eaters. And then if you have this belief, this inner truth, that you usually don't look at it because it's so painful. You rather concentrate of this outer and this but it's like eating chocolate. It feels good for a very short second, and then again you're in that, oh shit. And this is stress on its own. And I always say, you need a healing room where you can address those things. Once you start to address those things, already addressing it, and then if we work with logosynthesis, it goes quick away. But having this space would heal so much, would heal even if in corporate world we would learn, yes, we're talking positive, and talking positive is good, but it's super heavy because you have these inner beliefs and you're talking positive about things, but this inner belief stays. And if in corporate world we would also say, you know what, I'm the boss of this company, but I also feel sometimes not good enough. Or maybe you're manager of a big thing and you have somebody to talk about these things, and that would be so healing for everybody. Because it probably, as well, if you work with corporate people, at the end, the bottom line, we have all kind of the same shitty beliefs. And these shitty beliefs we can change. So why don't we do it? This is just energy eater. Because what happens? People are running towards burnout and stuff like that. It's just, and there I'm really straight on it, it's just because they haven't checked their inner beliefs. because it's not often you need to work less. The reason more why are you working so much? It's because probably you have this inner beliefs of, if I'm not, and this is not in here, this is in the whole system. If I'm working less, I'm more less loved, I can, whatever it is, bottom line. And once you work on those, your system can really relax. But if you don't work on those and just go for a month in holiday, it's like being on standby modus or having your electric car still plugged in.
Mhm.
Because even if you sleep, your system is bloody on. It's working against you, because it's like even worse. It's like, oh, I'm on holiday. I'm not. Then you feel guilt, you feel shame because you're doing what you do. And I had so many high performance known people are on stage, musicians that
Yeah.
had struggled so much with those things. I'm a lazy bastard. I don't do this. I'm do this. Yeah, I'm taking holidays. But these beliefs, they go on like standby modus, and this drains the energy, even if you take holidays. So that's why work on your inner beliefs, on the shitty ones, and that will really relax the whole system, bring in the corporate world so much more peace, healthy people,
Yeah,
and
because I used it in the corporate setting, and my
yeah.
programming was always work hard, work fast, get things done. Da, 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 da. And to your point, to go on vacation, oh my God, I worked so much before I went on vacation. And when I came back, and the whole time you're on vacation, you're thinking, I should be doing this. And so, what is so fascinating for me with logosynthesis is, instead of learning to cope with the beliefs and work around them, you're shifting the energy in it. And so sometimes people automatically get stuck saying, well, if I'm not working so hard, if you're cognitively trying to change that, then you're going the opposite direction, which is lazy. And a lot of times we've got conditioned that you have to work harder, you can't ease off. Or, if you're not going fast, then you're going slow. And there's all those that conditioning that's been programmed into us. But with logosynthesis, it's shifting the energy that's frozen there so that you're more in flow. And you do, like you said, you have more energy available. And I love how you talk about that inner truth, right? Because again, in logosynthesis terms, we talk essence, that we are essence. And it's a matter of letting go of all that energy that's blocking us from who we really are. So it's not about learning to do more. We already know who we are, but we've got all these beliefs that are kind of cycling us and keeping us stuck. And yeah, yeah.
And in that situation also, everybody, especially here in Europe and Switzerland, is talking about, yeah, you have to be resilient.
Yes.
I think it's the biggest bullshit ever. It is my personal thinking, because being resilient is just bouncing back in the system you are, but it takes you away from looking really, okay, I feel pain, and the world doesn't need pain. We can be without pain. And then instead of working with that, what's it actually, what does it hurt? What it's hurting? And resilience is just, oh, this is energy, takes consumption of energy is high again. I have to bounce back. Okay, I have to, what do I have to do? It's another, I have things to do. And people like this, they already have things to do. They have too much to do. So now they have to become resilient as well. So this is, to me, it's like, oh, I'm getting tired just by hearing it. It's just, no, it's, don't need to do another thing. You just take a healing room with whoever and start to connect. I'm more a fan of connecting with your inner truth. It's a reconnection, working through these layers. I'm standing here and this is my soul, and I'm maybe here, and in between there's a lot of layers, and just reconnecting like with a plug, like bloop, connecting in, and then you all of a sudden have a lot of energy. And to do that, Logosynth is the best tool to work through those layers of beliefs or all the bullshit that's going on sometimes in the world. And this to go through it and reconnect with yourself. For me, my job is just to help people to reconnect with themselves. It's what you just said, because it's everything is in here, and we just need to get the shit away if we can talk straight.
Exactly. I'm with you 100%. So I'm thinking we should start wrapping up, but I'm wondering, like, for people that are struggling with inner peace, that are feeling stress, there's so much talk around mental health, and so many people struggling with so many different aspects of their health. What's a key message you would like to? And I know you've already given a lot of very insightful key
Ah,
messages. So, but what would you like if there was one thing for people
yeah,
to
I
remember?
have one. I have one. Don't push your bad things away. And saying that as Olympic champion, I'm fan of thinking positive, but this is also energy too. Think bad, don't take it that strong, don't take it that bad, or whatever. Connect, reconnect with your body. That's my key message. Start feeling. If you have a problem, take a minute. Even if you're in a corporate role, you always has the possibility to sit on the toilet. Oh, I'm so sorry. Somehow this comes through. This is also disturbance, huh? This is what
Oh,
happens often. And there it's really, if you have this stress, take a minute, even if it's on the toilet, huh?
yes.
Because people often think they have to be. You also can sit on your thing, think, how do I feel right now? How do I, what of situation, what are my body signs? What's happening in the body? What emotions do I feel? And what are the things I think? What are my thoughts? If these three things is the map to your resistance, and as we know now, it's the map to freedom or to peace. If you start to reconnect and allow your, to me, the body is just um, like a drum. It shows you it's the loudspeaker of your soul, of your everything. And if you have, we all have the capacity to listen what's going on there. And those three situations, what are my body reactions, emotions, and thoughts, is, by the way, also step one for getting the transformation to logosynthesis. And only this map is the key to everything. Because the transformation is easy as hell. But the hardest part is to get to reconnect with yourself, with your body, because we are no more used to do that. Because we have to, oh, it has to be good, it has to be fast. And those three things start to do this. That's it.
Wow. Wow. Nicely said. Thank you. So, what about for coaches, counselors, therapists that are trying to help people? What would you say?
It's a no-brainer. Go and learn logosynthesis. Why? Two reasons. Most of the people feel the stress. What if I cannot do it right? These beliefs are, first of all, your own beliefs, and plus, second, you have a tool and you will be able to handle everything. I have lots of clients, they have sexual abuse, and often it pops up, or they have other violence. And this is always tough to handle as a coach. And sometimes you don't go deep enough with your work because you're afraid, what if I really open up the, how do you say, the box, the black box?
Mhm.
What if I wake up the sleeping dogs? And with logosynthesis, as being a coach, you have a tool to handle everything. Your stress, the stress of the client. So, and it's really easy to learn. So it's a completely no-brainer.
Okay, I have one last question. I promise this is the last one. So here in Canada, we are going on January 22nd is the Let's Talk Day. So it's a focus on mental health. And this year, the theme is youth mental health. So given that so many youth have aspirations, especially athletic aspirations and perhaps an Olympic dream, what message would you give to youth who are struggling with mental health issues?
That's a tough one to answer quick because I think originally my job is teacher. I don't know whether you knew that.
Okay.
And so to help young kids, and in my eyes, logosynthesis should be in all schools. And that's what I'm working right now, or I start to work on that right now, because we don't need to work with knowing things. Since we have AI, then it's just bullshit. We have to work, how we deal with life, with the fears and everything. And right now I'm also reading the book of Generation Fear. This is amazing book, and I knowing, even though if you're going for aspirations of being an athlete or being fulfilled so more, I would, right now we have the fact that we have this one here is complicating our lives tremendously, especially from the young ones, because it's always like, I am this, this judgmental thing, and seeing like all the pictures that are more beautiful and not being in this connection with what I said before is the huge, huge problem. And being a young person, I would really say, like, also do these three things super often. And just do the young people, they have to know that all the fears, there's so much fears, it is just an energetic aspect of something that it's not here. And it's easy to deal with once you open up for it. And to become successful, to become fulfilled, you have to focus on what's in your fear. But on the other aspect, you have to create a picture of yourself. And that's most important as well, of how you want to feel. So first of all, dealing with the feels, with the stuff that it's not happy, doesn't make happy, give it a room with somebody you believe, you have trust in. You can open up, get a trouble buddy. Get trouble buddies and talk about those shitty aspects. And in a contrast aspect, what's the person you want to be? How does this person feel? Not how does she look? And really work on that. Make a mantra for you, make really a vision with what does this person feel? And then you have those two aspects, and it's like yin yang, you have to juggling with those ones. There's not one most important than the other, but both of them. Usually they trapped in a fake world, and that's heavy. Heavy to succeed and heavy to just have an image of yourself. How do you want to feel? So it's quite a long one, but on this topic I could talk for hours.
Yeah, it's a big one. And for me, I often think there's so many of us struggling with how do we support our youth? And again, I feel that logosynthesis is a beautiful resource to clear the space so that youth can show up as they are.
Yeah, as I said, my son is 9 and he's using Logosynthesis. And if people tell me, yeah, but this is just for it's no, bring it into kindergarten. That's where it belongs. You can simplify it or clean your space, or all this energetic work has to be part of development of kids. Not when was which fight or ABC bullshit, blah blah. It's more about how to deal with what's really important. We have AI, so let's focus on what makes us human and work on those skills.